This is The Great Outdoors with Jason White, exploring the great outdoors in Pennsylvania and beyond. Brought to you by the Mariana Outdoorsmen Association and by Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds. Now, The Great Outdoors with Jason White.
Hello, friends. Welcome to The Great Outdoors. I'm Jason White. I have an awesome show lined up for you. We've talked for many, many months. Actually, it's even been longer than that, about all the different things that we've been working on with the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, the Pennsylvania Game Commission, building positive relationships. And today we're going to be talking about some positive outcomes and some different things that are coming down to help not only the agricultural community, but also the general hunting community and wildlife as a whole. So I'm really excited to dive into that. But before I do, I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. You can join the MOA today at marianaoutdoors.com. The summertime 30% off special is running all the month of May, all the way through August. You can join at marianaoutdoors.com. And as always, you can give me a call at 724-579-0924. Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds, managed and operated by 10 Mile Creek Outfitters. If you're looking to book a weekend getaway, weekend trip, weddings, corporate events, if you're looking to book any type of wild game, big game, whether that's whitetail, deer, turkey, etc., hunting trips, we offer those as well. And last but not least, any of your upland bird and fishing trips, we're happy to accommodate. 10mileco.org. Again, 10mileco.org. And again, you can call me at 724-579-0924. Looking ahead, just a few events for the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. There's a fish and upland bird habitat development meeting. That is Tuesday, June the 10th at 9 a.m., meeting at Wild Acres Farm, and going to be going over some strategic planning for fish habitat development and also upland bird development for the organization. Again, that is Tuesday, June 10th, 9 a.m. at Wild Acres, meeting at the barn. Saturday, June 14th, there's a collaborative effort between the MOA and the American Oil and Gas Alliance. Monies raised are going to go towards habitat development and also oil and gas advocacy outreach. That is Saturday, June 14th, 9 a.m. The golf outing will take place at Chippewa Golf Course. Any information, you can get it at marianaoutdoors.com, or you can also go to Mariana Outdoorsman Association at Facebook. Last but not least, Energy, Security, and Sportsman's Outdoor Bash, Saturday, September 20th. That'll be at 19 North Event Venue in Washington, PA. Again, information is on the website, marianaoutdoors.com. I'm going to dive right into it. Got a couple special guests here today. I have Tyler Strohecker from the Pennsylvania Game Commission, Landowner Engagement and Access Coordinator, and also the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau President, Chris Hoffman. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I want to dive into it. Tyler, you're out here, and Chris, we have some events upcoming, and I'm greatly appreciative of both of you and both organizations for all of us coming together. Tyler, you want to tell everybody what you do and kind of how we've kind of all come together and manifested into this. We have some new programs I guess you're going to be unveiling.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. Right now I am helping us lead our implementation of our Certified Hunter program here for the Game Commission. It's a new program. We're excited about it, and it really was created out of conversations with the Farm Bureau and speaking with our landowners here, particularly in the Southwest and in our agricultural community, about just some solutions that we can do for deer damage. And really start to connect the dots between hunters that are willing to take and harvest game off these lands and landowners that are having deer damage issues. So we are here to help announce the program and continue to build it here as we go forward.
Chris, I certainly wanted to highlight the fact that I know since my time with the Farm Bureau, I've noticed a huge change in, I would say, relationship and attitude with the Game Commission, and I think certainly you're at the forefront of that. So I want to thank you for that. But where do you see where we are and where we're going, and kind of tell a little bit of the people about what we got going on from the Farm Bureau perspective.
Well, thank you, Jason, and it's an honor to be here, and appreciate you and your advocacy here on the radio. I've been the president for a little over 2.5 years, and one of the things that we've been battling for many, many years, probably decades, is wildlife damage on the farm, right? Crop damage, and so we had to kind of look at a different approach. And a lot of times when you think about where we've been and where we're going, things change. And as I became president, I wanted a different approach. And so sitting down with the executive director at the time and trying to figure out, so how do we work together versus kind of bumping heads. And so that started a really great partnership as we started thinking about how we were gonna try to mitigate this damage. And when you think about crop damage, it's not everywhere, right, in Pennsylvania, but where it is, it's bad, right? And it's hundreds of millions of dollars when we think about what it's costing agriculture. And we're low margin, right? Our businesses are low margin. We've got to do a lot of great things with science and technology to try to make sure we have a profit at the end of the year. And where wildlife is creating havoc, and it's not always deer. When you go north, central part, you see elk running around. You'll hear the same thing, right? Bear. And so it really is really great to see how the hunter associations, the hunting associations, the Game Commission, even PDA, Secretary Redding, everyone has come together. And for the last year and a half, 2 years, we have been really working together to really change the narrative, right? We're not fighting each other. We're not bumping heads. We're actually looking to put solutions together. And I think this certified hunting program, it's not gonna completely take away the issues we have, but it's about putting tools in a toolbox, right? It's about getting ourselves to a place where we can really make a difference and change the lives of the farmers that are here, and getting our hunters involved, right? That's how we can really change the narrative, by getting those people who love to hunt, want to be outdoors, be able to harvest deer when it isn't in deer season, right? And be able to feed your family and those types of things. So I'm really excited. I mean, this is great to see us as we're moving forward and seeing the progress of everything. So to me, this is this is what we dreamed to have. And we just got to keep working together as we kind of forge forward and think about how we make these programs successful. And then on the other turn is continue to think outside the box as we continue to look for more programs and more things that will help get our farmers into a very profitable area where we can mitigate some of this damage that we see.
Well, one of the things I want to highlight is I have the Wild Acres Farm, which is a regulated hunting grounds, and I have also managed the Marion Outdoorsman Association. We're doing fish and upland birds, and I'm a guide and outfitter, so I appreciate the symbiotic relationship between wildlife and nature. I would say that I've been a huge advocate, and there's no farmer out there that wants to see an imbalance in nature. We all just want to be able to have the tools, what Chris said, the tools in the toolbox, so we can live in balance. There's nobody that should have to live with property damages that you're dealing with bankruptcy or you can't even put food on the table. So, I'm really thankful that I would say that relationships have changed in a positive way to where, now we're seeing these things happening, and, not to put the cart before the horse, but, to even look at the future of other things, that I think probably within a year or two that we'll see that are going to happen, from technological advances to other things with data collection, et cetera. But for this program, I know we can't go into the major details. I will let everybody know there is going to be tomorrow. Tyler's going to be doing a presentation. There's actually going to be 2 of them. Anybody's welcome to attend, whether you're somebody that has a farm or you're a hunter that would like to have access to a farm. I'm going to let Tyler give a little bit of a synopsis of this, but there's going to be 2 seminars tomorrow that he's going to be presenting. It's going to be crop damage program updates, hosted by the Farm Bureau, presented by the Pennsylvania Game Commission. It'll be at the Ross Draver Fire Hall, Thursday, May 29th. Session 1 is from 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. Session 2 is from 6 to 8. So there's 2 sessions. They're going to be the same. We're actually going to be, I think, recording the one, and we're going to try to get it out there just for general information for anybody in the state of Pennsylvania. And that address is 1100 Fells Church Road, Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania, 15012. With that being said, Tyler, can you kind of give, I guess, with this program, kind of, I guess, the overview of what it is, and certainly if anybody wants more info tomorrow, we can, you'll be able to dive into it real deep.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. And so really through this partnership, and we've had a great partnership and a lot of great communications with the Farm Bureau over the last few months, and really hit a point where inaction was not possible. We've heard from landowners, and particularly our farmers, that the deer damage, it was how do we get it addressed, and how do we do something that we can address this year here in 2025. And that's really where, through conversations and getting feedback from these landowners and these farmers, it was, okay, we have a few problems we need to solve for, and you both hit on balance, and that's so important, is how do we find the right balance? And there's a lot of localized areas that are not balanced right now. And it varied, right? Some levels it was we don't have the right hunters, some it was we don't have any hunters, but there is a population of hunters out there that are willing to hunt on these farms. And for any individuals out there that haven't participated in our Ag Tag program, it's a great program to fill your freezer. A lot of hunters will come up after they participate and they say, what a burden it is off my chest to have my freezer filled in August and September before I even have to get my bow, and I can just chase my target buck for the entirety of archery season. So what we look to do is, through conversations with farmers, it was, hey, what would you be willing to do, and how do we get more hunters on your farm and remove barriers for that? And really we came up with, it's an outreach program at its core. And it's linking certified, vetted hunters from the Game Commission that are going to be upskilled in efficiency. There's a written test component to this where, they're going to have to be knowledgeable of local farming practices and what our farmers are doing in their fields at any given time throughout the year. And, what landowner relations and ethics, responsibility do you have being on somebody else's land? Mm-hmm. So that's a big piece of the online exam that we're going to have hunters take. There's a shooting test component as well, where you qualify with a rifle or a bow, again, to make sure that you can operate that weapon in a safe and effective manner when you are hunting these properties. And that's really what our landowners were wanting. They were willing to give up that access and remove those barriers with that vetting process. So we're thankful to the landowners that have already begun signing up. We're working with them. We sit down with you as a landowner if you're interested in joining, and we'll create a land usage guide. So you still retain full control of your property, but you'll let us know, hey, this is where I'd like hunters to park. I would like them to put tree stands only in this area of the woods, or whatever the case may be. Hey, I always see deer in this field. This would be a great spot for individuals to hunt. They'll create that land usage guide. We'll provide that to the hunters, and then I really look at this program as a conduit between how do we help our farmers meet their wildlife management goals, and how do we keep hunters afield and get them successful. And we're excited about it.
I think just for a little bit of background, just for the folks that understand, there were, I don't know the exact numbers, but there were a lot of access properties in the past that have fallen off the wayside. And it was because, not of everybody, but there were things that were done on certain properties by certain individuals, and basically farmers said, hey, I can't have that activity here. Mm-hmm. Whatever it was, maybe somebody opened up a gate, cattle got out, car hits a cow, next thing you know, there's a lawsuit. People dumping garbage, people shooting maybe in unsafe directions, wounding animals and not retrieving. There's just a multitude of things that can take place. People driving through freshly planted crop fields, another little basic thing. These are not all things necessarily that are fully covered whenever you initially get your I would say your hunting license whenever you're 12 years old. Mm-hmm. In some capacities they are, but not fully. I would also say, like, when I was in the mining industry, we always had annual refreshers. And to me, this is kind of giving somebody a refresher to make sure that, to your point, that they're an ethical hunter and they know what they're doing. And even I like the shooting aspect of it, because there are a lot of people, me being a guide, I can tell you this from firsthand experience. I've had some gnarly experiences to where people showed up and literally the dust was still on the gun, or literally I had a scenario where somebody shot a buck with a crossbow, and then he's sitting there, and after I go to pick him up, and his whole scope was spinning in the rings. And I've literally had those scenarios where it was just like I had to shake my head like that. What is going on right now? But I'm glad to know that, like, again, that people's concerns have been brought up, and the Game Commission's listening, and people aren't asking for the world. Like, people will open up their property. They just want to know that good people. And the other thing you hit on too, I think is really important, is like people shouldn't have to give up their private property rights to open the floodgates to 1 million people. You and I talked about this before. Like, there's only so many people that can hunt a property safely. I mean, that's just reality. And two, like, hey, if I want you to hunt over here as a property owner, then that's a respectful thing to ask. Or, hey, you can use this part of the property. So I love the fact that, where this is headed. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This pilot program is kind of targeting Southwest PA to get started.
Correct. Yep.
So certainly, if anybody's interested, we have these 2 events coming up tomorrow. Actually, tonight there's going to be a wildlife reception, and it's from 6 to 8 p.m. It is at the Trailside Landing Event Center in Connellsville, PA. Tonight is more of an opportunity for people to network and meet each other. Tomorrow is more of a Tyler's going to be talking and answering any specific questions about these programs. But tonight, we've tried to, with the Farm Bureau, not only build relationships, but build relationships beyond with our partners, other organizations, coalition partners, because, like I said, we got, this is a success story of what we've been doing. We have other things in the hopper that we've been a huge advocate for, between the Senate Bill 67, the Sunday hunting, and there's a lot of components to that. But we got a lot of other things. We've been talking about technology, QR codes. I know the data collection management has been something that's been brought up. Wildlife reporting apps. I know we've been talking about that a lot here recently with trying to collect better data. So I'm excited to see, like, as we build trust, build relationships, friendships, partnerships. I think that this will be only the beginning. Truly, I really do. There were some other things too that I know changed, and I know you're going to go over this tomorrow, but I think it's really important. You mentioned about the Ag Tag program and the DMAP program. A lot of people do not. I've tried to advocate a lot on this show about what they are, and it's something that I just kind of keep saying because people don't fully understand. So in essence, I'll let Tyler give a little bit of a summary here, but there's 3 basic components. You have your normal seasons. Mm-hmm. And then you have your ag tags and your DMAP. I'll let him give his description, but take it away.
Sure. Well, so at a high level, I won't touch on their normal, our normal deer seasons. Mm-hmm. They're pretty outlined and pretty familiar. So DMAP is another method. So it is another method to obtain antlerless tags that you can use during concurrent deer seasons. So you could use a DMAP tag if you're in that DMAP area to harvest an antlerless deer through, archery, rifle, flintlock would work as well. There actually is an extended rifle season that has been approved for January of 2026 with DMAP tags. So that is a specified area. Think of it as a local management tool that we can use, and we can say, this DMAP area, it might be 600 acres. We're going to allocate an extra 15 antlerless tags that our hunters can get and they can use in those concurrent seasons. The ag tag is similar in the sense that it is also just antlerless deer, but it really focuses on our agricultural community lands and helping out our farmers with their deer management goals. So there is a formula on how many acres a farm has on how many extra tags that they'd be able to get. But that season runs a little bit differently. That season runs from August 1st until April 15th. So it's a significantly longer season, provides a lot more opportunity to our hunters. And the idea there is it keeps pressure on deer and hopefully off of these farms a little bit better. Obviously increases harvest chance for that as well. So that longer season exists. The only caveat to that is like for ag tag, if you're hunting during a normal archery season, you would have to use archery equipment. If it's not running through a concurrent season, you can use whatever implement you would like. But if you're in archery season or muzzleloader only season, then that would be the only implement you could use for that ag tag season.
The other thing I wanted to mention is the both ag tags and DMAP, to my knowledge, the regulation about the number of tags a shooter could have, that has changed. It used to be a limit. It used to be limited to 4, and the Board of Commissioners voted to get rid of that limit. So it makes it a lot easier now from a management perspective. So hypothetically, say you were a DMAP property or even an ag tag property, the way it used to be is you were allowed 4 tags per shooter. Mm-hmm. So if you only had 1 or 2 people that were committed to helping you shoot, harvest the deer, you were kind of put in a box to where you had to then go solicit other people. This really helps out with that. I think that was a really good move. So I'm really excited about it. I know you and I have talked about that a lot, just the little things to make it more efficient and effective. Chris, we're looking ahead. I know this is going to be, to me, a big step. What do you think, just from a Farm Bureau's perspective, what are on the horizon, if you want to share with people, some of the stuff, I guess, our target kind of goals or things that we're working on or vision for the future, where we see ourselves in a year or even 2 years?
Well, I guess when I sit back and I look to see where we are today and where we hope to be is, at some point we want to try to get everything back in balance for our farmers. And so, I've sat down with Steve Smith, the executive director, and we've talked about a lot of different programs. I'm not going to say on the radio what those things are, but they're going to be kind of spot treatments type deal where we can do some things that maybe can harvest some wildlife and then get it into the food system, right, to be able to feed hungry Pennsylvanians. And so to me, that's exciting, right, that we can do. The other thing that I think is really going to be a great thing is, we talk about electronics that we're going to add to these programs, right? So you'll probably on your phone have a app that the Game Commission has created that will have a lot of great tools on it, right? For us as farmers, one of the things I think about is biosecurity. So I'm a pig farmer and a chicken farmer, right? So high path avian flu, right, has been hitting Pennsylvania pretty hard. Well, we got to really be careful, and we need to be able to educate hunters. So I see this as an outreach, right? So if I am on my poultry farm, if I want to have people come in and hunt, I need to be able to somehow give them the tools to make sure that they don't bring avian flu to my farm, right? So I look at this as these are great tools. These will be ways we can actually add to be able to put more value to the farmer, right? For the farmer to be able to tell a story, to be able to kind of let the hunters know the things that they need to do to make sure we protect agriculture, because it really is. It's about our food source and food security as we think about moving forward. But again, it's about working together and making sure we have a team approach, because a team approach is what will get us to where we need to be, and we're always going to have to keep changing, keep moving to be able to make these programs work for everyone. And so what you see today is probably not, as you can see, the DMAPs and the ag tags are changing, right? And so we'll continue to have to work together and say, well, this is working, this isn't, here's what we need. And that's what I really like about this partnership, because everyone's listening and we're all trying to work together, because at the end of the day, we need to be able to feed Pennsylvania, feed the world, basically. So opportunities are great, and so I just love where we're heading, where we're going, because that's really why we started this journey.
Well, the other thing I think is important is some of the bad actors, I guess we'll call it, over the years have contributed in a negative way, I would say, even into hunter retention, hunter access, because somebody goes out hunting, you're all excited, whatever that may be, whether that's archery, rifle, it doesn't matter. And you go out and you end up having a bad interaction, a bad experience. That can put a bad taste in your mouth. It doesn't matter what experience that is in your life. And then next thing you know, that person's not wanting to go maybe they don't want to go hunting again. Maybe they don't want to go to that property. So whether that contributes then to more crop damages or whether it contributes to that person just getting out of the hunting community, at the end of the day, in my opinion, better management of the lands that people are accessing, having set rules of what people should and shouldn't do, where they should or shouldn't go. Chris, to your point about a lot of people don't even understand avian influenza. I would say the general public doesn't have a true full grasp of what it is, where it comes from, how it's transmitted, what are the health implications of it, what are the health implications on people. And I think that, you know, the one thing I've learned over the past 2 years is just for us to, I would say, get back into balance and bolster our hunting community and to bolster our agricultural community. It comes down to relationships, communication, these seminars, us doing this right here, talking to people, informing people what we're doing, spitballing ideas. I mean, I can tell you the folks with the Farm Bureau, like, we're constantly throwing out ideas, and I think that's a good thing. I'm a realist. I understand not every idea is going to be implemented, but if you don't say it, then you basically have muzzled your thoughts and ideas, and that totally squanders any innovative thinking. So I know this. You mentioned about technology and the QR codes and whatnot. Like, I'm super excited for that because I think there's so many people out there that are already sharing trail cameras and people that are constantly using QR codes and apps. And people like to just you and I talked about this, Tyler, the other day about, think about it, like, you could literally have competitions like the pictures of the year or pictures of the month or what's the pick, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to engage people to want to be involved. And who knows what will end up being on some of those trail cameras. Obviously, if it's geo-tracked or whatnot, maybe it is some species that we don't even, think is crossing the state lines or whatnot. So I think that's an exciting thing for us to move ahead. AI has become a big thing. So, like, there's opportunities to incorporate that into these different technologies. I would say, looking ahead, this is something that's our policies is about, like, even the butchering, having better access. I think that's we've all identified that being a concern. Butchering facilities, the need to get food to needy people in need, the food systems, data tracking at the butcher shops. I think that's another idea or a methodology. We actually have a policy on the books where, don't quote me, but it's basically I don't want to call them check stations, that's not it at all, but basically voluntary reporting where you could have check stations that are voluntary, like whether that be a butcher shop, whether that be a licensed station, just extra method, because the more methods the Game Commission has to accept data, obviously that allows you to make better decisions on the back end.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things we're all hitting on here is community. And what you've just done there, Jason, I think is really kind of lay out the runway for a lot of areas that we're going to look to go here in the coming years, which is great. And, when I look at some of the programs and ideas that we are bouncing back and forth, and when I think about, harvesting more deer, then you bring up hunters sharing the harvest and bring community together and donating that meat. And just the satisfaction you get as a sportsman or a sportswoman going out and saying, hey, I was able to help that landowner. I was able to give them a deer. I was able to donate 2 deer and be successful myself. And I think there's a gap right there right now within our community. And unfortunately, it could have been due to a bad actor. And, we see this in all aspects of life where, a bad apple spoils the bunch, and then I think we need to course correct. So, and that's where I'm excited about, this program. And as we look forward, we are willing to pilot some new things and get feedback. And truthfully, the CHP, the Certified Hunter Program, has been built on the feedback of Chris and the Farm Bureau. And, we were out here in Washington County Farm Bureau a few weeks ago, and a lot of the feedback we got from those landowners is in the program. And that's where we started. So I get really excited about just strengthening those community ties again and bringing everybody in around the outdoors.
I also think there's a lot of social, cultural, economic benefits to all of this, and that's not just obviously helping the agricultural community. I've talked about this on many shows. I think every kid I don't care who they are. Well, I don't care if they're in a city or if they're in rural America. Should know and understand how to at least understand the concepts of hunting, fishing, butchering, preparing a meal, understanding the connectivity between crop damage and, like, a lot of people don't even understand like this. Crop damage directly connects to inflation and directly connects to bankruptcy, directly connects to depression. We've talked about that, Chris, about people getting into deep depression and whatnot, and we've even dealt with cases of suicide in the farming community where people's livelihoods were completely destroyed. And I think with all of this, the goal is to get back to being in balance. I think in many ways it's about almost going back, in my opinion, 60 or 80 years with, I feel like everybody used to be connected with the outdoors. And for whatever, everybody had a trap line, and which is a whole nother conversation. Trapping is so paramount to the balance of wildlife,
and so much fun.
And if we don't, if we don't get our society back to being in that way, and that's where educating kids. That's a whole nother thing. I really hope. I would love to see strides with more trainers. I'd love to see stuff, more stuff in schools. It's just me speaking out loud. I know, Tyler, you and I talked about the Game Commission partnering with the state reps and senators, like doing community outreach. Chris, you and I, we've talked recently about people not fully understanding what their rights are from a trespass perspective, how to properly document. What do you do? How do you handle the situation? Not everybody's been informed or told what to do, and I think that the more that we can be advocates, the more that we can work together, do these types of events like tonight, build relationships with people. People want to feel, at the end of the day, we all have different jobs, but at the end of the day, we're all people, and whether it's Farm Bureau, whether it's I have a hunting preserve, whether you work for the Game Commission. I think we should all, one thing I tell people is we should all have compassion for one another. I don't want to see anybody going through hardships. And I think it's terrible that wildlife has put people in such, obviously, in distress and bad places. And I've certainly asked, even from permitting, look, I've had those conversations. And we're, that's another thing that we're working on right now is major permitting reform in Pennsylvania, because it's caused so much distress to people's businesses, communities, farmers. So I'm excited about that for the future. I want to reiterate, just so everybody knows, again, tonight there is a wildlife reception. It's a Trailside Landing Event Center. We'll all be there. It's welcome, open to the public. Please come see us, 6 to 8 p.m., 235 North 1st Street, Connellsville, PA, 15425. And again, that is at Trailside Landing Event Center this evening, Wednesday, May 28th. And then tomorrow, the programs that are going to be discussed by Tyler and the Pennsylvania Game Commission will be hosted at the Ross Draver Fire Hall. Again, that is Thursday, May the 29th. There's 2 sessions. The morning session is from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. And then session 2 is from 6 until 8 p.m. 1100 Fales Church Road, Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania, 15012. Certainly, I wanted to, as we kind of move through this, I'd love to have both of you on, or even other folks within the Game Commission, Farm Bureau, because I think it's important for, as these different ideas are discussed, because I think a lot of times people feel a little disconnected, and a lot of times people go to their legislators, but at the end of the day, the legislators typically go to the legislative liaison, who gets the information second or third hand from somebody else. So it's it's nice to be able to have these types of episodes for people to have the opportunity to meet you, Tyler. Because for somebody, you're going to make somebody's day today, just being able to talk to them today or tomorrow in person. For them, you're going to make somebody feel good that they finally were able to shake your hand or look you in the eye. And that means something to some of these farmers. A handshake means more than $1 million. Like that alone is worth its weight in gold. And, I'm excited. I really am, because I think it's showing everybody's caring. And I think some of that got lost from our society a little bit but I think it's starting to come back where people are starting to care and understand, the gravity of. It's not about, as both of you said, we've all said, this is about balance. This is about managing the wildlife system. It's not about tipping the scales one way or the other. And I'm proud to say that as a farmer and a sportsman, because I think that we should all want to live in harmony. But, the fact that we're taking the strides that we need to with not only programs but innovative ideas and solutions for the future, because after today and tomorrow, realistically, the dominoes are just starting to topple. And as we've said, there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm super, super excited. Tyler, just for people's knowledge, if they do want to, say they cannot make tonight, tomorrow, how do they go about registering or looking up the information for either the programs?
Sure. Yeah, it's on our website. So if you go to the Game Commission website, it's under Landowner Assistance Programs. There's certified hunters there. You can also email us at pgcchp@pa.gov. So PGCCHP, so PA Game Commission Certified Hunter Program at pa.gov. But reach out to us. Give us your feedback. Give us your questions. We're seeing hunters roll in and apply every day, which is great. We're seeing more and more landowners come in and ask good questions and maybe challenge us in a way that we haven't thought of yet that we can incorporate into this. So, again, that's where I get so excited, is just the partnership, and very appreciative of you, Jason, and helping us get this message out there. I think we have a lot of problems and areas of opportunity that we can grapple with here over the coming years, but I'm confident that while we may not solve all of them in year one, we're taking a step in the right direction, and we're not letting perfect be the enemy of progress, and that's where I get really excited.
Hey, I've always been. There was a person that always taught me that problems are just God's way of showing us opportunities in disguise. So it's just, for us, it's about being innovative and formulating solutions. Chris, do you want to? If anybody's interested in joining the Farm Bureau or any additional information about the Farm Bureau, where do they get that at, or what should they do?
Well, depending on what county you live in, we have a Farm Bureau in each county, but you can go to our state website, which is pfb.com, and we have a membership app there where you can just fill it out, put in your credit card, and become a member of the county you live in. So you don't become a member of the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, you become a member of the county Farm Bureau, and then you automatically become a member of the state and national American Farm Bureau. So your voice is quite large within, and you don't have to be a farmer, right? You can be someone who is concerned about our food supply, concerned about wildlife, whatever. And so, it's open to anyone who wants to become a member, and we would encourage you to do that. And, we're going to continue to work for our farmers, those who feed us and fuel us. And so that's our job here, and continue these partnerships, continue to work side by side, trying to make a difference. And as a sportsman, I'm excited about these programs. My freezers are already full with pork and beef and chicken, but and there's a deer in there too. But I look forward to helping feed those who are hungry, right? So be able to be part of this system where we can give back to our community and be able to provide some food for those who need it.
And isn't there a summer special just meant on it? Once you join at a certain date, don't you get the rest of the year for free? What is that date?
So July 1st. July 1st is when you sign up and you get 18 months. It's a normally 1 year, but if you sign up July 1st, you get 18 months. So you get 6 months for free. So where else can you get free stuff, right? But from the Farm Bureau.
Yeah.
And we got great services too.
Well, please check out the Farm Bureau. Check out both the Farm Bureau and the Game Commission's pages about obviously everything that both offer, what's going on. I certainly look forward to seeing everybody this evening. Again, we will be at the Trailside Landing Event Center for the Wildlife Reception hosted by the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau's Wildlife and Fisheries Committee. That's 6 to 8 p.m. this evening, 235 North 1st Street, Connellsville, PA, 15425. And then tomorrow, again, at Ross Draver Fire Hall, it'll be the crop damage program update hosted by the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau and presented by the Pennsylvania Game Commission. And they're going to be going over the Certified Hunter Program, ag tags, DMAP, answering any questions that anybody may have. So certainly if you have any really super detailed questions, that's a great opportunity. I know that they'll be great to answer for you. And then that'll be a morning session from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. And then the evening session is from 6 to 8. So hopefully, depending on your work schedules, I know some people probably planned on planting, but with the current soggy conditions, I don't think anybody's going to be planting today or tomorrow. So by all means, please come see us. Again, Ross River Fire Hall, 1100 Fells Church Road, Belle Vernon, Pennsylvania. I want to, again, give a special thanks to our sponsors, the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. You can join the MOA today at marianaoutdoors.com. Again, that's marianaoutdoors.com. Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds. 10mileco.org, or give us a call at 724-579-0924. Free-ranging whitetail deer hunts, turkey hunts, upland bird, and last but not least, trophy trout. If you're looking to do any of that, also weddings, corporate events, parties, or just weekend stays, we'd certainly love to have you. And looking ahead for the Mariana Outdoorsman Association, 3 upcoming events. We have the Fish and Upland Bird Habitat Planning Meeting, June the 10th at 9 a.m. AOGA and MOA Golf Outing, Saturday, June 14th, 9 a.m. And Saturday, September 20th at 4 p.m. is the Energy Security and Sportsman's Bash. Thank you both for coming today. For everybody out there, this has been The Great Outdoors. I hope to see you tonight, tomorrow, or if not, I'll talk to you next week. I'm Jason White. Thank you and have a great week.